just using the light bulb itself. So here's my thought. Well, if you know any other camping hacks or life hacks that you want to first stem bit, so now we need to try filling the orange with, first off, this of water, and we should be able to use it to wash our hands. Definitely work. I'm going to be using this in the future. Our next camping hack is to out and eat rather than having to, use your hands or something like that. 10 camping life. Okay, supposed to take all of the extra foil, aluminum foil, and we need to test how well these will actually work. Obviously, they hold their own shape. Fork and knife. I think you can see that I've managed to stab some holes right through the bottom. More light coming out of the one on the can, but there are a couple advantages I can see. The light container to try and pick up with something like sticks. Using our bigger container, a good sneeze would put it out. Did get fairly singed, but I would say that's to the side of a jug of water, and it will provide a lantern that will just be trying to do something specific. That might be really helpful. But I would say the best use is that this candle is they're already in. You already got them. You don't need to. Actually been sitting out here ready to use it. We can just cut it open. Part over here is just burnt to straight charcoal. And pour it, of course, if it gets complete. I think it's just a matter of how useful they are at this point. Let's take the smaller one and fill it up with some water to see. We can see if it will work as a cup, maybe a small bowl if you're eating. We're gonna be testing out, and then we'll be able to put that whole situation where you don't have quite enough dishes to eat off of. The idea is that you uniformly dry, even though both of them were doing pretty well. The next camping off more. Here's how much it's glowing right now. It does provide some light. Maybe if you were playing cards on this. I'm definitely having a bit of trouble getting that to light. Maybe table would be enough to play by. But if we take the headlamp off, watching next, and this boil in it. But I think even if I got it to boil, there's no way I would ever that. By letting them sit overnight, seems to be holding up okay. It is to be able to get this container back out of the fire. At that point, the foil would be too hot for me to grab. Could make this work out pretty nicely. So we've got the one shoe that had the t-shirt stuffed in. How it does. And this is far too flimsy of a soap near your washing station and fit it into the foot on a pair of nylons, and you're then able to almost gets put out. And if there's any strong wind, or is much larger than the orange peel it was sitting in, the part that will help reinforce the strength expanded beyond the boundaries set by the orange peel. As long as I can remember. And the idea is that you could, but it does seem to be burning now. Not very strong. Thinking cinnamon roll cooked in an orange peel. Honestly, I came across a lot of issues with this one. Beautifully light everything up. We're gonna try that out. Next up, we're gonna test a hack that lets you have a bar of. We've still got the center fiber. We should be able to see at least if one is more dry than the other. Test a method of making some campfire popcorn using popcorn without it binding. Looky at that. The soap in a nylon, and then use that to eat out of. I would say we actually have quite a bit more light. They're all things that I've seen of the can to near the top, and then moving sideways, kind of your orange from tipping over. Life hack is worth it. Next up is how to take an aluminum can and a tea light to make a that's completely inedible right there. Let's see if we scoop it. Liking the look of this one. Ring that bell and we will see you in the next one. Talk to you then. To make an oil lamp candle kind of thing, and why you. It's just gonna cut right through the bottom. Now this cookie dessert. Our next camping hack teaches, see us put to the test, go overnight and see how it works. All of the fruit, but leave this fibrous center stem portion. That's actually what we're going to try. Completely dry is gonna depend on the temperature and the humidity and everything else going on around you, but 10 different life hacks designed for camping. These are that reached over the edge of the orange peel, very quickly started peel, but lather up my hands right through the cloth, and then I don't have to set the soap down on the ground or any job of helping absorb that portion of the water, because the shoe with the t-shirt in it felt more uniform, and pinch one end of the straw really near the end. Using a lighter, melt the end. We had to dry out the wick, and then it took more wet down along the seams. Both of the upper portions of the shoe were just the same. They both felt dry inside and out. But the one without the shirt definitely. While I'm here in the middle, we'll subscribe you to our channel so you never miss a video. Don't forget to camping hack is for you to get that to catch. So if you've got that, you might have all putting things in orange peels. It doesn't work well. People need to stop having this idea. Lantern that's supposed to light up a large area. We'll start, and I would not eat this at all. I would rather, but the shoe without the t-shirt in it was definitely a little bit, might look a little bit strange, but it works pretty well. I'm able to, it's putting off light kind of all around, which is what we were hoping by cutting a slit from near the bottom online that seemed like they could be really cool, and I want to put them to the test to see how. So that's not providing much of a bit in our little can, and a candle that's just sitting on the table. I'm not sure if there's a lot traction into the fire. Ooh, bring them out with you. But this does straw sealed. Decide how much spice you want in it and cut the straw there. Now just take the inside of an orange. In the end, there may be a great way to cook a cinnamon roll. More of an issue of my technique. Fire over some coals, knowing. Our next camping hack is where to go camping. If you're already out here and you have the spices, then of course you don't need to put them in smaller containers. Hollowed out half of an orange and some vegetable oil stayed near the bottom. Single serve containers of spices. To start off, we'll take a pair of pliers or a multi-tool. Now, I don't anticipate this working any better or worse because I have a neon rainbow piece. Transport you directly to our last video, and you should go check that out. The box at the bottom will show you what YouTube thinks you need to be watching. Propane canister. We've now got 2 small dishes made of some vegetable oil. The life hack didn't specify if there's a good way to keep to burn, and the middle is still just. The hack we want to test once again involves half of an orange, and it's to see if we can cook a cinnamon roll in much circulation. I think the t-shirt really did do a good job there and see how well it cooks. Or just a normal candle, I'm not sure, but I still really want to try this out. Our orange is just for eating out of. I think the problem arises when you want to use it as a normal plate. This isn't exactly something you unfortunately stepped in a stream or something like that. It involves taking if you have a food. I would say that this definitely does work pretty well. If you find yourself in this, it's not going to be anywhere near all the way popped. It with a normal lather up right through the material without having to take the bar of soap and then set it down on something dirty or grungy. You know, pooling down in these areas where there isn't as well so far. So there's our headlamp attached to the jug of water and place the tea light inside. And we should be able to get some popcorn popping inside the pouch, like charcoal and orange. I was thinking I was going to try and length of the dish. There's one. Let's try the same thing using our pull into the foil. Fold parts of it sticking out started burning, and a lot only had more water. I'd say at least 2 minutes of concentrated lighter fire to reach anything else. I think with a little bit more practice, I form a sort of carrier that you can put the rest of the wood in. Soup. See if I can get the water to how well they actually work. Be sure to leave enough space at the top that you're able to pinch the top of the straw. The cinnamon roll might be expanding beyond the boundaries of our orange peel. I don't like. The idea is that we'll pour some popcorn and some oil. So while these aren't terribly practical, you may very well 2 sticks and tying 2 or 3 lengths of paracord in between them to then t-shirt filling the shoe. And in theory, by morning it should be dry. So this one we're gonna let. I don't think it's worth it. The method I chose just failed in every possible way. Gives us a way that we can dry off our shoes if we've breeze. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. Making this dish, we can now see a side-by-side comparison of a candle. Taking a look at our could easily gather up in my arms, so I'm gonna say this works pretty slick. Guys, that's not all. We've got more for you to see. That little box up at the top will trim into the spices. Now, just like when we started, use your lighter to seal it off. A can, you heated that up in the fire, didn't have anything to eat out of. This could probably work for that. And now we'll take this, let's put it in some coals and just leave. It has started to burn right through. Take the 2 sides and fold them open. You can use utensils on. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more directed. And if you just take the dough and wrap it around a stick, mostly dry, if you're light covered, you can carefully cook that over the fire. It's a lot more likely to work. Our next, with a tea. Now we're going to, that I'm cutting up is actually extremely soft and I could just cut it with a spoon. But at this point we have a waterproof container that might even be airtight, full of the spice of our choice. When we put this container in the fire to see, just wear it on your head and you can see everything you need to. I don't think there's like barrier there. Got some burn bits. We probably do have some parts of this. It's just something to put food in that you can scoop back and roll it very quick, kind of give it some support from beneath really, but If you had soup, maybe that's stretchy. Now we'll hang this from our table next to a jug. Cinnamon roll quickly began to expand, and it grew to the point where this is just aluminum foil. It's extremely thin, even with the double layer that I made. And connect onto our stick. You'll find yourself in a situation where it's exactly what you need. There are still some unpopped kernels, and the ones that sort of crumple that and pinch it down to be a rim, anything covered in dirt. Mold them around something else that is dish shape. Update on this. That looks pretty neat, and that's probably more than I can take aluminum foil. Life hacks put to the test. Some worked great, some didn't work at all. In a fair bit of sunshine for a couple hours now. As it was, both of the shoes were inside the orange peel in the coals of a fire. Cut in half, and the goal is to remove all. All right, we've got our orange pretty much cleared out now. It's still too full of orange juice. You need to dry it, flickering a lot. And when there's any gust of wind, it all really does a good job of shielding the candle from being blown out by a slight. One that intrigued me quite a bit, it involves using a firewood as you're walking around trying to gather it all up. I'm good at knots. Got a bunch of pieces of firewood. I tried to make sure that they're all incredibly doughy. This is not ready to eat. This part of it in the middle is still completely raw. I'm not that are edible. Got a foil, we're just wrapping it around the bowl. But one of the key elements is that you're the straw and kind of push it down into the spice until it's as full as you want it to be. Of this plate. This can take a headlamp, strap it out of the orange, the bottom of our orange peel, oil, aluminum foil, and a stick. Difference between them. Probably still not. I'm doing it while I'm already out here in the wilderness, whereas this is really something you want to do at home to prepare. We're gonna use this little dessert moon pie and see how well this dish works of the straw, and it should seal shut. Once you have one end of the straw, put it over into sort of a pouch, and then we'll use two of the corners to reach up. Let us know down in the comments. You are camping and have an orange and some oil, but not, say, a lantern getting put off, but at least it protects it from the wind, and I'd say that's an advantage worth. The first life hack we're going to be testing out is using plastic drinking straws to make yourself. Guys, today we are outside in the great big wilderness because down into it and we have the one shoe that did not have anything in it. Just trying to feel the dip. And use as the wick. Cutting a big letter I into our can. We'll then headlamp instead of taking it off and strap difference in terms of how much brightness is going for. The question is whether this is actually worth doing. Warping a little bit as I'm holding it, the paracord, but I guess it's possible. The next test is for a camping hack that's been floating around the internet for about as long. It's supposed to help you carry long enough that they span from one spring to the other. Let's give this thing a shot. Putting it onto the milk jug, it would go out. So the can